Welcome to the Al Black Show, Saul. Great to have you here.
Good to be here, mate. Thanks for having me.
Just a wee bit warm today.
Yes, very warm, very warm. I've felt it this week, actually.
And that's you coming from Bali too, and it's still cooking.
Yeah, it was the dry heat here, isn't it? So
definitely,
everyone goes on about.
I think just as we were coming in here, I heard on the radio it's just topped 40 degrees this afternoon. So
41, it said in my car.
Yeah, right.
I was in Araluen helping set up an event for Sunday, and I think I gave myself heat stroke on Thursday, so
right,
it's fucking hot.
Yeah, it is that for sure. All right, now you got the accent. You're not from around these parts.
No.
Yeah. So I know that you've done a heap of work over in London, but is that where you're from, or where are you from originally?
Yeah. So I grew up in Cheltenham, which is about 2 hours from London. But I kind of spent most of my adult life in London. I went to uni there when I was 21.
What'd you do at uni?
Cultural cross-cultural studies or something like that. It was like psychology and sociology, and stuff like that, which I've never used.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it's something that it's kind of learning all that stuff about people, how people think and stuff, was probably more helpful than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Well, you're in the people business.
Yeah. I mean, I spend my whole life staring at people, basically, trying to. Not
in a weird way.
Well, yeah, I get locked up for that. But you know, my job is to basically stare at people and work out why they're not dancing. So
yeah.
You know, the little psychological cues and stuff like that. But yeah, I learned more from uni.
Yeah,
doing stuff that I haven't, you know, not for my job, just for life, really.
Yeah, subconsciously,
so,
sort of.
Yeah. So I've never used it. So yeah, it was a complete waste of 3 years of my life.
But you probably had a bit of fun.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. First raving experiences, really.
Yeah.
And that's when I started DJing. I was 18.
So like growing up in Cheltenham is probably pretty. Is it a quiet place or?
Not really.
No?
It's a strange little place. It's in the Cotswolds, so it's pretty, but it's got a couple of claim to fames. Like I worked in the clothes shop that was owned by the guy that ended up making Superdry, the clothes Superdry.
Oh right, yeah.
So
right.
he's like 88th richest person in England on the Times list every year, and so yeah, I worked in one of his clothes shops, but his clothes shops had all like the rave tapes, and like you used to get like 6-pack of rave tapes when it was all cassettes.
Oh, so I was thinking it was something you strap on yourself, like right.
No, there's no strap-ons.
Yeah,
but it was like it was like cassettes, like rave packs. So you used to get all these ravers come in and ask for like all these Obsession and Fantasia. I don't know if you've heard those two rave names.
Yeah, right.
But both those rave outfits came out of Cheltenham.
Okay.
My brother's mates. So the first original rave cruise, which was Obsession and Fantasia, actually came out of Cheltenham. So I was kind of all around that in Cheltenham when I was like 14, 15, 16.
Yeah. So is that when you started raving?
Yeah, I used to listen to like old school hip hop and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I used to play basketball, so it was all that kind of like American culture. And when rap was good.
Yeah. And before everyone started mumbling.
Yeah. When it had some, you know, all the flower power kind of hip hop and like, you know, everything with a conscience, Digable Planets, and you know, what's that other one? Well, there's a few of them anyway, but you know, they're all very conscious rappers, weren't they?
Yeah, De La Soul and all that.
Yeah. But then, I was playing basketball into all that kind of stuff, and then because Cheltenham, like all the rave scenes started to like blow up, and I was like 14, 15, obviously not old enough to go to nightclubs, so my mates would just get their driving license, and so there were loads of raves and that around us.
Yeah.
So we used to just like find out where a rave was on the weekend and just fucking
rave on. Yeah,
like I remember the one of the first and the biggest ones I went to was Castle Morton, which was like, you know, it's fucking 25 years ago maybe.
Yeah.
And that was before they put the criminal justice bill in to stop people from gathering and having parties.
Pre-92. Was that around then, I think?
Yeah. About then. So like I heard there was a rave, and it was a long weekend in August, and it was all just set up really well to just turn into a ridiculously massive party on a hill.
Yeah. And was it all the secret messages and texting?
Yeah, it was like I was working in a restaurant at the time, and one of the older kids that was working there was into, you know, doing pills and getting into it, and I was always like, oh fucking hell, drugs.
Yeah.
And then
better stay away.
Yeah, I was like, whoa,
just say
that'll
no.
Kill you.
Yeah.
And then so like he told me about all this, and then I said, yeah, I'm up for that one night. Not the pills and everything, Mum.
No.
But, just like going to the party. So I just passed my license.
Yeah.
And so I took my parents' car, which they didn't know about.
Yeah, they do now.
Yeah. And I was just told, go up the M5 and you'll see a convoy. And that was it.
Right.
And I was like, okay, so we're going up the motorway like at 1 o'clock in the morning, and suddenly all you can see is just like rear lights for about, well, as far as you can see, like 2 kilometres worth of lights. Right. And I was like,
a traffic jam in the middle of the night.
Yeah, going at like 40k. And we're like, this must be the convoy to the rave.
Can't see any other convoys.
No, it was like literally, I was like, oh my god, like that is the rave.
Yeah.
So we just pull in, and then just went like into the country, and all these cars just like parked up on the side of a hill, and there was 40,000 people raving on a August bank holiday,
right.
90 or whatever. And,
outdoors or in a warehouse?
Yeah,
or it couldn't be a
just
warehouse,
on like a common, and the police couldn't do anything about it because there was no laws to stop it.
Yeah.
So they just turned up and went, oh shit, 20,000 people having fun.
Yeah.
And the thing was, pardon me, because they put it on the news saying illegal rave on hill in Gloucestershire on the Friday of the long weekend.
Yeah.
It's like the best publicity you could ever have. So then by the Sunday rolled around, you had 75,000 people. Like
Jesus.
So it was just it was like, and then after that they just clamped down on it, and there was anti criminal justice.
The criminal justice bill.
That came through, and then I went to the march in London for that. That turned sour, and all the coppers just steaming into people and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that was my first touch with like realising that not everything you read in the paper is legit. It's legit.
Yeah. So your first
I've gone off.
No, absolutely. So your first gig, was it a rave gig or was it a hip hop gig or?
Did some stuff at uni.
Yep.
It was like working with the students' unions. Most people do. And then my mate was the student, what do they call it if you're the ENTS officer, isn't it?
Events officer?
Yeah, he was the ENTS officer at Reading. So he used to book all these DJs and just put himself on. Yeah. Let's warm up to all these big DJs, Tony DeVete and all people like that back in the day, Message Woods, all these techno acts. So I used to go down to Reading and like just get on it with him. And then his mate had decks in his basement. And his mate was like, don't touch my decks. So obviously we'd be like, yeah, we will.
yeah, of course.
So we go out raving, and then we come back and just like try and mix for like a day in the basement.
After raving?
Yeah.
A little bit trickier then.
Yeah. Like, and it was terrible. We were terrible. And then like one mix in 20 we'd get right and be like, oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that? And yeah, that was, and Alex, my best mate, he was the one who got me into it like 25 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So that was a start. But the first one I did properly was probably, my sister had a pub, and they did this party for after Radio 1 down on the beach one time down in the south coast. And she said, oh, just put the decks on the roof for a party. I was like, yeah, sweet. And then I remember there's like fucking thousands of people for Radio 1, and then I was like, oh, this could get out of hand. So we put the decks out on the top of the roof and started playing, and he ended up with like 500 people in front of the pub. And I was like, whoa.
Not bad for the first gig.
It was a good start, but I was shitting myself.
Yeah. That is gold.
I remember shitting myself, yeah.
So it wasn't long, or that much longer after that. It's 1997 when you moved over here?
Yeah, it was like 97, 98. Before 2000, I remember 2000 was in Perth.
Yeah, because you were just coming over on holiday and then you kind of didn't leave, is that
what
happened?
I did a couple of holidays when I was younger. I always liked it.
Yeah.
And then, I was in London doing uni, and I was having a hard time, like mentally, like almost like nervous breakdown kind of material. Yeah. And my mum was like, "Go and see your sister in Perth. You know, you like the sun; it'll cheer you up. That'll work." Yeah, absolutely. And then I come over here, and I had a 3-month holiday, and within 2 weeks I sold my return ticket, bought a Holden Kingswood. And then
doesn't get much more Aussie than that.
Well, that's what I was told. I was like, "Oh, look at this car! It's amazing!" It was like stick shift and a panel seat. And it used to just like do fucking donuts as soon as it rained.
Yeah.
And it was all automatic. You put your foot down. Remember that?
Started spinning.
In Leadville, that intersection where it's got, I was just to fucking spin it in there. Anyway, so within like 2 weeks, sold my return ticket, bought a car.
So what was it? Was it the overall vibe, or was it the weather, or the beaches, or just?
I just couldn't believe that like you could live somewhere where it felt like you were on holiday every day.
Yeah.
Because in England, you live for like 2 weeks of sun.
Yeah.
And like...
And that's when you go to Spain.
Yeah, and that's when you go to the Costa del Sol. So,
yeah.
And you go fucking bonkers because you know you can't believe it's sunny and like, and you're like, oh, people live here, mad. But like, there's no reason why you can't just go and live where you want to live.
Yeah.
Which I've done ever since.
Yeah. We still say that, like Nat, my partner and I, like, we can't believe we lived in Perth for 9 years and we still feel like we're on holiday. You know?
I think that feeling doesn't go away. Like even people that live here, you get people that moan about living in Perth, but they'd moan about living fucking anywhere.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't think you take it for granted. You shouldn't take it for granted.
Yeah.
And like I still think Perth's one of the best places to live that I've ever lived. Yeah. And that's why I stayed here for 10 years, never had a holiday. Yeah. Because I got in when I was 21 and stayed till I went back to London, to be honest, when I was 30.
Because I was wondering that. I didn't know about your sister connection, and I was thinking, I wonder why Saul came to Perth, being the person that you are. Why not somewhere that's more party oriented, like Melbourne, for example?
Well, Mum was from Perth originally. Oh, right. And then she kind of like said to my sister, "Oh, get married and go live in Australia," part of a master plan to get us all out here. Yeah, right. So Esther come out first, got married, and then she was like, "Oh, you're having a hard time. Go to Australia and like cheer up."
So what? So your mum's from Perth, but then she moved to the UK, and then
so Mum's got an interesting story too. She left when she was 20. Well, she met my dad hitchhiked to Australia,
and he's English.
He's English from Cheltenham. He hitchhiked to Australia, met my mum, got married to my mum, said, "Come back and meet your parents." Went back to England. She got lumbered with 20 years back in the UK. And then she was like, fucking hell, come on, I've done my time. Yeah. And then dragged him back here about 10 years ago. Right, okay. But he's pretty happy over here? Yeah, they are. They're happy to be back. But to be honest, they've got 2 hotels up in York, which they are trying to sell. So if anyone wants a big hotel up in York, find it. Yeah. What are they called? Faversham House. Yep. If you've got 1.8 mil, you can have that. And the other one's the Palace Hotel. If you've got 1.5, you can have that, I think. There you go. So there you go. There's a deal. Get rid. Absolutely. So I think they want to get rid of those and go and live in the south of France. Yeah, right. Why wouldn't you? Yeah. I want them to stop working. My dad's like, just keeps working. Yeah, one of those. Now he's falling over and like hurting his hand and his arm, and it's time to move on. It's like, Dad, like chill out. Yeah. Now, you know, coming over from the UK, how did you find breaking into the Perth scene? Because obviously you didn't know anyone, or... Yeah, I think that was my first lesson into kind of like just... you've got, when your back's up against the wall, you either fucking get it done or give up. Yeah. And I think that was my first proper test, really, at like 21, whatever, coming to Perth and not knowing anyone and thinking, what am I going to do? Do you know what I mean? Like, am I going to go and work in a shop like I was in Perth, in Cheltenham, or am I going to do something with my degree, or I'm going to give this DJing thing a go? And it was a bit of a blagger story, actually, because I came over. A bit of a what? Blagger story. Yeah. There's probably been a theme in most of my stories, actually. Yeah, winging it. Yeah, but like when I came over, it was before the internet and all that, really. Yeah. And I had a mate who was designing flyers for all the Fantasia stuff. Doing all the rave flyers. Yeah. And I said to him, I'm going to Australia, I need you to mock up some fucking flyers, basically. With your name on it, right. So he did all these dodgy flyers. That is gold. Nobody knows this. Yeah. They do now, but yeah, so basically I said to him, can you put me next to Paul Oakenfold playing at Checkpoint Charlie in Reading? And I want to play, like, nothing too big, but big enough. Yeah. So unless they actually... Because Paul Oakenfold's so small. So, like, I mean... It wasn't. They couldn't. The only way they would have found out is if they'd rung up the club. Yeah. And they didn't think they were going to do that. Nah. So I had 3 or 4 dodgy flyers, I had a mixtape, and I came over and I picked up Express magazine. Didn't know anyone. I remember thinking, right. I just went through Express magazine. I went every single club that was on it. Yeah. Knocked on every single door in town. Put it through there. Rang them the next day. Have you listened to my tape? No. Have you got it? Yes. Okay, cool. We'll ring you back when we listen to it. I said, no, it's all right. I'll ring you in 2 days and see if you've listened to it. Yeah. No, I'll ring you. No, it's all right. I'll ring you back. Got to be proactive with that. 2 days later, have you listened to it? No. 2 days later. 2 days later. 2 days later. Yeah. And I just did it with every single club that was in town. And now I look back, some of the clubs didn't even fucking play what I wanted to play.
Yeah, right.
But I was like, and it was just perseverance and sheer pig-headedness that I was going to get a gig.
Yeah.
And when I look back, I'd never do that now.
So you didn't have that approach when you, because we'll get to Bali, soon.
I did a little bit, but when I think about like how much I wanted it, like there was nothing that was going to hold me back. Like I was going to get a gig. I was not going to work in a shop. I was not going to work in a bar.
Yeah.
I was going to get a gig somewhere.
Do you still remember the first one in Perth, the first gig?
I think the first person that rang me back and said was possibly Simon Barwood at what was Rise now, but it was O2 then.
Yeah.
And then him.
Air and Mint.
And then there, so it was Air.
Yeah.
And then across the road was Redheads, where NBC is now. That was there was a big club, a whole corner. It was open till 6 in the morning, and we used to play banging trance till 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so it was there and there, and then after that it was DC's, and everywhere else came through. But that was back when you had like, the high street of Northbridge was all dance music.
Yeah.
You had Library, that was Ricky and that playing trancey stuff, hard house.
Yeah.
Then you had DC's playing the underground stuff. You had Redheads playing more trancey, Rise. Then you had Geisha. Then you had Metros, and you had another one where the strip club is. Forgotten the name of.
Yeah.
But that's 6 clubs.
Connie's.
And Connie's were playing more commercial stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But dancey.
Yeah.
You had like 6 clubs in Northbridge, all playing dance music.
100 metres apart.
And then you had Nova as well. That was more that was more dance music based. And then you had RTR FM obviously doing their thing. And then you had another station that was around for a little bit playing dance music as well. So there was more. It's all cheesy, but it was like entry point stuff.
Yeah.
Which is, you need that, because not everyone's going to start, listen to dark techno.
No,
They've got to
exactly.
start somewhere. when I first started, I started listening to Judge Jules and all that on the radio.
Yeah.
Hopefully your music progresses on. Some would say mine hasn't, but
that's someone else's opinion. So that's what you're doing full time. Did you just end up straight into DJing full time, or were you working as well, doing other
so
stuff?
I did that, and then there's a couple of times when things get slow, like the winters here. The work drops out a bit, but more or less, full time. And I had to do some shitty jobs as well. I did termite reticulation in Stormont, which was horrific.
Just like how it sounds.
Real glamorous.
Yeah.
But I don't mind a bit of hard work. I was a push bike courier as well. Glassy at the what is now Holy Moly. It was wheelbarrow before.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
I was like Glassy in there on a Saturday night and used to go through the crowd like this, and they had a Beatles band, and like all the old women used to just fucking
grab your ass.
You were lucky if they grabbed your ass.
Yeah, right.
But it just
full on.
Bruised nuts by the end of it.
Yeah.
So I've done some. I don't mind a bit of hard graft. Just the money's usually shit.
Yeah, of course. But I think it was around this time you also started doing some gigs in Bali, and you did that Jan club or Jan.
Yeah,
3,000 people.
Christ, that would have been just 10 years ago, probably. Like 10, 12 years ago. That was my first trip over there.
What's that Jan club? Is it still? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it got turned into. It was just like a market,
right?
And then they turned it back. They've just turned it back into a club now. I went actually back to the reopening of it 3 or 4 months ago with the woman that took me over there originally 15 years ago, which was bizarre. It's like on the main street in Seminyak, but it's like a locals club now.
Is that the one that's kind of opposite Cafe Bali? There's a kind of big building that looks kind of like
it's cavernous.
Like an entrance,
it's cavernous.
Right.
But it's all locals, and they're doing well. There's a good market for them. They're making money.
Yeah, right.
But it was bizarre that first time, because I was DJing in Subiaco, and Ase, the woman from
where were you playing, Subi?
Yeah, in Lama Bar it was.
Oh yeah.
So I was playing Lama Bar like 10 years ago. This woman comes in, same old story. Hey, loves your music. We'd like you to come and play at the opening of our club.
An Aussie?
Balinese chick.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah. And it was, just wrote my number down, an email on a bar mat. I was like, whatever, never going to hear from you again.
Yeah.
Done it many times. And then a month later, I get this email saying, hi, are you still available to come over and play in Bali? And I was like, sorry, who's this? She was like, oh, we met in, and I was like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
So she was like, what? How much money do you want? So we sorted the contract out, pretty good deal. Come over, play 2 nights. I was just like, shit. And I was quite naive to it all, so there was a crappy little contract made out that I did. And I was like, oh, you're just going to have to give it a go.
This sounds good enough.
Yeah.
It's got a couple of big words in it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if it falls through, it's not worth the paper it's printed on. But yeah, so I went over there and got pulled over by customs. That was interesting.
For what?
Well, they saw I had records, so they were like,
working.
There's some money to be made out of this. So I got pulled over, put into customs, started grilling me. I was like, first time in an Asian country, I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And they're like, go and get the people that you're meeting. So I went out and got the people that I was meeting, pulled them in, and they were all talking Balinese. I'm like, what's going on here? And then it was literally like brown paper envelope underneath the table. I was like, did that just happen?
Yeah.
And then we walked out. I'm like, got in the car, nothing's been said, and I was like, did you just pay off customs? And they're like, yeah. I was like, well, what was the issue? And they said, oh, we had agreed an amount.
Yeah.
And then when they went in, they tried to barter them up to another amount, so they had to barter them back down.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow. And then all the streets were manic, and they said, right, this is your hotel, we'll see you tomorrow night. I remember just sitting in the hotel, I was like, literally had culture shock. I was like, it was all a bit much.
Bit surreal.
Yeah, it was all a bit of I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
Because I'd never been to an Asian country, so I was just like...
And you're by yourself.
And I was by myself, and there's no one to talk to, and I was just stuck in the hotel, and I was just like, whoa. So...
Better go out for a beer then.
I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to sit here for 2 days, am I? So I went out. But I was like, whoa, this is different.
Yeah. Well, because it was around that time as well where you've gone from one of the sunniest places in the world, Perth, and returned to the UK. That was about 2005. So were you just sick of the great weather, or?
No, I didn't want to go back at all. It was... I was dragged back. Not dragged back, it sounds wrong. But I was with a girl, and she
I was waiting for that. I knew that was coming.
It's always a girl, isn't it?
The minute I heard the word dragged, I was like, here we go.
Yeah, no, it was. I was like, how am I going to talk about this bit without being? But no, it was all right. I had to go. I went back to show her England and stuff, and she wanted to go back. I was
so
like,
she was an Aussie?
Yeah, she's Aussie, she's from Perth. So we've been seeing each other for a few years, I think. So she wanted to go back. I said I'd come with you, but it didn't work out. So we went back to London. I went back, she wanted to go back. She wanted to see it, and then like I ended up just kind of like, when are we going back to Perth kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she wants to go and see the London Eye and fucking Big Ben and all that. I'm like,
yeah, it's like, here's your tube ticket, off you go. I'll meet you back here.
I'll see you in 2 years when we're ready to go. So that didn't work out. And then I got a job at MTV, and that was
so what were you doing there? It was graphic design?
Yeah, so I was interactive TX Link developer, I think was my role name.
Right.
Which means TX, which is the output of the TV stations. So I was basically the link between graphic designer and graphics that go out on screen. So basically all the little words and icons that you see come out on the channel, all the automation of that. So basically when Justin Timberlake comes up, it says Justin Timberlake. It pulls out all the information out of a file, sticks it on screen, and the graphic designer says, I want it to be an orange splash, here are the files, you make it happen. So they do all the pretty stuff, and then I make it look good. But that was we did I think it was like 25 channels across Europe. So
full on.
So we did 7 UK channels, and then we did all the Polish channels, Swedish, and all the Nordics.
And how'd you end up in that gig?
Another blag, really.
Yeah, right, here we go. What's this one? So when I got to 30, I was like, I need to do something else as well. So I went back to TAFE and did a multimedia diploma. And then when I went back to London, my best mate's wife was working at MTV. Right.
And she said, I might be able to get you a job. And I was like, fucking, that sounds all right to me.
Definitely.
And then so she said, look, you're a bit of a shoe-in for the job, so just don't fuck it up, and this is what you'll say. So I kind of went to the job interview and blagged it.
Yeah, right. And, it's not what you know. It's who you know.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Completely. I mean,
and so yeah, just talked myself into that. But I remember it wasn't for me really, like in an office, and I did 6 years of that, and I can't believe I did 6 years in an office.
I can't believe you did 6 years in London after living over here.
Well, it nearly killed me.
Yeah.
It nearly killed me, to be honest. Yeah, I was having panic attacks by the end of it, and anxiety and all this. I used to, regularly have to get up from my desk and walk around the block just so I didn't have an anxiety attack.
Yeah, full on.
So it was getting to that's why I left, essentially. But yeah, I remember the first day sitting there and thinking, I've got to sit here for 8 hours a day, every day for 5 days. And after a while, it wears off, and you're like, man, this is what I do.
Yeah.
But I remember the first day thinking, fucking hell, I'm gonna go crazy here.
Is this what
I did essentially. I split up with the girl, and I was like, right, I'm gonna go back to Australia. But after I've kind of torn myself apart, drinking bottles of vodka and wallowing in self-pity about this girl, but then I got over that and started enjoying London, started DJing again.
Right, so you're taking a break from the DJing, have you?
Yeah, so in MTV I kind of took a break, which didn't help either, because every time I've ever taken a break from music, it's not gone well. I realise that I have to be doing it in one way, shape or form. It's like it's an expression, and it's a release, and if I don't have that, there's something in me that doesn't work properly, so I have to be doing it.
It's like a release valve.
It's just a creative thing as well. Like, I mean, I do graphic design as well, and that's part of the stuff that I was doing at MTV, but if I don't have that creative output, things aren't right for me. Yeah. That's why, I mean, I see people that have a job and then go home and watch TV and then go to bed, and I think, like, how can that? Are you happy with that? Like, I can't.
Yeah, I often look at people with the exact same thought, and I'm like, what sort of existence?
Like, if you don't have a hobby, or if you don't have something, I'm like, okay, cool. If you do that 9 to 5, that's wicked.
Yeah.
But if you don't have something outside of that, like, what are you doing? Like, what's?
I had a job.
Surely there must be something you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Not just coming home, watching telly, and going to sleep.
I had a job a few years ago, and no disrespect to the guys that were there, but on a Monday morning, we'd sort of sit around and say, what was your one? Your
and you have to lie and say, oh, pretty quiet.
I was doing my masters at that stage, so I was really quiet, like so often they would just go, went to Bunnings.
Yeah.
It's like, what, got some, I'm like, Jesus Christ, and that was,
I mean, if essentially, if people are happy doing that, lucky bastards.
Yeah, right.
If you can be happy, like going to Bunnings and fucking putting up a shelf, then
good, best of luck
on you.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this probably isn't the right thing to say, but I won't say it.
You can tell me afterwards.
But if you're happy, then great.
Yeah.
But I was just never happy doing that.
Yeah.
Never.
Do what makes you happy. That's
100%.
Not for us though.
No, and I kind of worked that out with London, and like I got to the point where, you're told, if you do this, go to uni, get a good job, find a girl, get all that stuff, and then you've ticked all the level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you fight the boss guy.
Yeah.
And then we fight the boss guy, and then you fucking that's done.
It.
You're gonna be happy, and that's everything great. But I literally kind of did that. Got my uni degree, got my job at MTV, got a missus, really happy with in love with this girl, proper job. Got a house, big telly, nice, living in North London, everything's gravy, and I couldn't have been more miserable.
Yeah, right. Big gap.
And I was like, fuck, I just this is all bollocks. I've been sold a complete utter shite.
Right. So this isn't a life for me.
So that's when I quit and got in my Jeep and went to Ibiza.
Yeah, right. So I'm going to get to that. So just while those gigs you were doing in England, it was so you did some in Manchester, but you were playing some of the top clubs in London, including Ministry of Sound and my favourite, Turnmills.
Yeah. So I was at uni at the time. No, I wasn't at uni. I was at MTV, and so that's when the Kinky Malinky thing started.
Yeah.
And we were doing, a mate of mine knew Paul Crane from Kinky Malinky, and he said, Paul looking for promoters to do the side rooms of all these venues. So
sorry, for those that don't know about Kinky Malinky, can you sort of give us an idea of what it was all about back then and
right,
what it's like
Kinky
now?
Malinky is a London-based record label. It was record label, but is essentially a London-based promoter. Started 20 years ago. Had a current residency in Marbella, Perth in Australia. Got New Year's Eve in Bali. Had them in Dubai,
not anymore. Marbella still had that. Do stuff in Ibiza every year, plus the home base, which is London.
Right.
So that's where Paul Crane is. And so I met Paul Crane in London, and he wanted like 15 years ago. And we were just doing his side rooms and stuff. So he'd do ministry, and then we'd do like room 2 or 3 and get like our crew of 100, 150 people and promote and have our DJs and do the side room. So we had a brand called Jam Basher, which was me and 3 lads. So we used to just get all mates together, have a bit of a rave up, sell tickets or DJ. So we used to do the side rooms for him. So that's how I knew Paul. So we'd do that for Paul for a couple of years. And then that was when I was at MTV. And that's when I fucked MTV off and got in my Jeep and said, I'm going to Ibiza. And everyone was like, you're nuts.
What year was that?
That was 7 years ago.
Yeah, right.
So 2002, 12.
And that was your first time to Ibiza? Surely not.
No, I've been there like 10, 12 times.
Yeah, right.
And it was one of those things where I always used to go out there and it was like fucking mind-blowing. Like the first time I went there, because it was after I went to Australia, after I'd been to Australia. So I went to Australia for 10 years and I always was seeing stuff about Ibiza every season. And I was so like, oh no, I've blown my chance of ever going there because I'm not going back to England. But then when I went back to England to live, I was like, right, I'm getting over to Ibiza. So I remember, that's right, I saw a competition online to win a gig in Ibiza, DJ competition.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it.
So
I entered this won this competition, DJ competition, and they flew me over to play in Eden. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
And that's one of the top venues for those of you.
Yeah, so that was a really good big venue in San Antonio.
Yep.
Massive sound system, biggest sound system I played on at the time. And so that was my first little taste. And it was just bonkers. Like all the places I've seen, it was like when you go to, I don't know if you've been to New York, but when you go to New York and it's like walking down a film set.
Yeah,
it's like
right.
You see everything that you've seen in the films, and it is exactly like that. You know, like smoking, subway things.
Yeah.
Like yellow cabs everywhere, really harsh, like coppers, and like everyone, fucking, it is like that.
Yeah.
So you feel like you're in a movie all the time. It's weird. And the same was with Ibiza. When I got there, it was like I've seen all these images in magazines for years and years and years, and then suddenly I'm stood in front of space and there's that space sign.
Yeah.
Or you go down to Cafe Mambo and it was there, and it was all just really surreal. And it was
I had a similar feeling when I was there. I was there in '98 and went for a week, stayed for a month, and lost 10 kilos along the way. So it was
probably put 10 kilos on your nose.
That's a podcast in itself, that one. I had a lot of fun down there. But I just remember you're walking around, you're like, this is like Disneyland for clubbers. It's just
and it just have so many world-class venues in such a small space.
Because you played El Divino over there as well, didn't you?
Yeah, so Kinky had a residency at El Divino, which is no more. I played there before. I've forgotten his name.
And you were living there?
So I was visiting at that time, but then when I jacked MTV and I just went and lived there, did 3 seasons there, and looked after Kinky Malinky for Paul at Eden, played at a couple of other places, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be DJ-wise for me, particularly.
In what way?
It's very closed shop. Like there's guys that have been there for 20 years, so they ain't gonna let you in. And then there's just a massive hierarchy between there's so many internationals coming in that you either kind of get flown in and get good money, or you live there and you get shit money. And no disrespect to the guys that have been living there, but you're always going to be the warm-up guy. Yeah,
right. You're always the outsider.
Yeah. And you always, unless you've got your own night where you're a smaller venue, you've got something going on, which is wicked, but you're always going to be playing an early set, warming up for some A-list DJ, unless you're that A-list guy. So kind of unless you leave the island, become producer, and then go back flown there as a headliner. I don't know. I was like, I've done 3 years.
Done enough.
I felt like I needed a new challenge, and it wasn't it wasn't exactly what I wanted really.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to get up to that level of like LA grade, you'd have to leave and start producing music and come back if you wanted to do that.
Go down that path, yeah. But I mean, there must be some crazy stories from your time in Ibiza. Is there anyone that sticks out?
It was all a bit bonkers, really. But to be honest, the first couple of years I was there, I really kept my nose clean. but no, I did, because I was really focused on getting shit done and getting work and focusing. And everyone's like, couldn't believe how well behaved I was. But then in the last year, I was like, well, fuck this is probably the last year. So like, fuck. Yeah. So the last year was pretty mental, but it was always a bit of a struggle, to be honest. So you had to be quite careful with the cash, but I think the best party I've ever been to there was they were doing those boiler room sets.
Okay, yeah.
And so they had a boiler room set, a Paradise, which is Jamie Jones's party at DC10. So he was doing a boiler room with Richie Ahmed, Waf, and himself at this villa that we heard about. And our mate, and it was really selective, really hard to get a ticket for it. It was just guest list only. But he had our mate at Mixmag said, "Oh, we'd probably get you a few." So we managed to land ourselves a few tickets. Everyone's running around trying to get tickets, but we were like, "Yeah, we sorted it." Anyway, so we were like, "Right, got tickets to this party," and it was mental. They told us to like meet at this church in the middle of the island, like in this car park of this church. So we ended up like 2:00 in the afternoon, meet at this get a lift to this car park, wait in, and suddenly all these minibuses turn up. They're like draped curtains all through it.
Yeah, right.
They've got all these like clouds hanging from like cotton wool clouds hanging from the ceiling, like cotton wool all through the floor like that, all drapes and stuff. Like this woman dressed like an angel, like this, drag you onto the bus. So it was all like theme and it was all like show pantomime. Right. So you get onto the bus already, so it's all a bit weird. Get onto the bus, I was like, okay, where are we going? And then like there's a guy like just literally handing fucking, I don't think it was anything to do with the party. He was just like a very friendly drug dealer. So he was just like handing around cocaine to all the bus, and then I was like, no thank you very much. Of course, yes, but everyone else was like hoofing it in. So everyone's like smashed full to get there. So we drive like 20 minutes to this villa, wait outside, and then queue everyone up, and then suddenly like enter the villa. So enter the villa. There's a woman on a trapeze like this, giving out these parchment papers, right? Which were like bound in like this red ribbon. You open it up, and there was like a map to the party, and it was in this massive villa, sprawling villa, like overlooking the Med, and it was owned by the guy that owns Cirque du Soleil.
Wow!
So he had all his performers from Cirque du Soleil there. Right. So he had all these like people on stilts, jugglers, performers, acrobats, just wandering around everywhere, and that went on for 3 days.
As they do.
Yeah. So they did the boiler room session, like filmed that, and I can be seen behind it on my phone shuffling around, and I get a message every 2 or 3 months from people saying, I think I saw you on that boiler room joke. I'm like, am I shuffling around on my phone? They're like, yeah. I was like, yeah.
You're just hanging out with the guy from the bus.
Highlight of my life. Yeah. I was just sorting out my mate on the bus.
Yeah.
So
that's gold.
But that, and it was like free cocktails. Everything was free. They had like sushi, and I went up there. I was like expecting to pay, and then they were like, and I said to my mate, I said, I think this is free. And like, free booze, free this, free everything. And it was going for 3 days, but I only lasted one. So.
Lightweight. What were you doing, Saul? You peaked too early.
I think I went to another party.
Yeah, probably. So eventually you leave and you come back to Perth. What happened there?
So I did the 3 years, and I think I was like, yeah, this is kind of enough. And then I was like, yeah, I'll come back to Perth.
So then you'd stopped MTV and you were DJing full time in London, or
quit MTV, went to live in Ibiza for 3 years. Yeah, but I was coming back here in the winter, because obviously it's a 6-month season. So doing 6 months and then come back to Perth and doing the summer here. So it was like
constant summer.
Yeah, 3 years of 6 summers, and then did my last season in Ibiza. Met some great people. That was the best thing about it. Meeting some really cool people, and the kind of people you meet there are people that are living to try and be a little bit different.
Yeah,
like
unique.
They're following their dreams or whatever, but they're not. You know, they're happy people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They might not be the richest people in sense of financially, but like, you know,
they're having a great time.
They're having a good time, but they also like. They're pretty wise. Like, I remember talking to some pretty cool people in those 3 years, and it changed me a lot. You know, like there's a lot of quite wise. Well, when I first went there, I called them hippies, but now I actually think, yeah, they fucking kind of know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
those
just grounded kind of dudes. Yeah,
and like it kind of, you know, I listened after a while of listening to it. I think, yeah, these guys might be onto something. So it kind of opened my eyes up a little bit to being a bit more open to other things, you know.
Yeah.
So I think I grew a bit over there, and then came back to Perth, and got stuck in back here.
Easy to get the gigs once you came back. It was the same familiar faces, or
yeah, it's the same kind of crew. Things change a bit, but luckily I was kind of welcomed back with open arms by most.
Yep.
Went back to Geisha, resident there. A good friend of mine, Ricky Conclaves, he runs quite a few venues like the DJs and stuff, so he was giving me quite a bit of work. But then I started going to Bali and doing like parties over there, and like
so that was what, like 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago. Did a season, did like, well, what I called a season there, because it's kind of not really up and down like Ibiza as much, but they do have a set kind of high season. So yeah, we did 6 parties once a month at Cocoon.
And that's what generally, June, July, August, or July, August,
we started
September?
in May, did May, June, July, August, September, October.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Did a 6. And then I was thinking, why am I coming over here once a month when I could reverse engineer it, stay in Bali and come back to Perth once a month?
Light bulb moment.
Yeah, I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
It was just a matter of getting more gigs around that one that I already established and making it work.
And what was that gig? That was the Cocoon one,
So it was a Cocoon.
Yeah.
So we did some good stuff for them, and then we've moved on. But yeah, it was just. I was like, fuck it, let's go and have a go out there. And I think having made that leap from London to Ibiza, and then coming back to Australia, it's just after that it's easier to just go.
Fuck it, let's have a crack.
Like,
yeah.
It works out. It always works out.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do? Like, go and sleep on the beach and give up? Like, you don't. You just make it work. It's either easy or harder, but it always works out. You just go there and you make it happen.
Yeah,
like,
slept on a few beaches in my time, though, I think. Walking up on a few beaches in my time, yeah.
That's the thing. If you have to sleep in your car a couple of times or whatever else, you know, you just got to do. It depends how much you want it. Like, people say, oh, you're so lucky, or, you know, you live in the dream, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, no, I'm not. I'm just... Yeah. You can do it. You could do it tomorrow. Like, everyone's got an excuse why they can't do something, you know.
That's absolutely true.
I've got a cat. You know, what? Kill it. Well, you know, I like cats, but like, it's not. There's always a reason not to do stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's never a right time to do anything. Do it now. Yeah. Because if you wait till tomorrow, you won't do it.
I remember when we caught up over there a few months ago, and I was just chatting about how's it all going and that sort of thing. You were saying that the DJs or the DJ scene over there can be pretty cutthroat. Yeah. So what are some of the antics that they get up to over there, or the challenges,
I think,
if you like?
Because here, it's the main source of income for a minority of DJs here. Like, obviously you got your professional guys that are doing it full time, but it's a minority. Whereas in Bali, you know, you're paying possibly around 5,000 Australian dollars a year for a working visa. So it's expensive. You can't just go over there and, you know, get a few gigs and make it work because it's cheap. You know, once you paid your $5,000, you got to get a certain amount of gigs. So you know, and you can't work as anything else. So if you're going there to be a DJ, and you're going there to make it work.
I was going to ask about that, because I know you were telling me about this visa situation over there. So
yeah, it's hardcore.
Yeah. So if you've got to sort of stipulate a profession.
You've got one job. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So if you want to work in a bar, you'd have to fork out another $5,000. Or you can only get one.
Well, you just never would, because the pay is like $50 a week.
Yeah.
So, you know, people say, oh, just come over working in a bar. It's like, well, okay, it's $50 a week. They're like, huh?
How's that going to work for you?
So there's like, you know, there's boule
Western money, and then there's local money. So there's a completely, you know, contrast. So you can't go there and work in a bank. You can't go there and work in a bar. You've got to have a hustle. You've got to either work online, or you've got to have your own business, or you've got to have an investment, or you've got to be a DJ, or you've got to be an Instagram model.
Yeah.
But you've got to be self-employed essentially.
Is that how you got by the first few months, as an Instagram model, or?
Yeah, I tried that. It didn't work out too well. No. I tried watch modeling, sock modeling. A lot.
So what did you do? Were you falling back on your graphic design work at the beginning there, or?
No, I just went all in as always.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Balls and all.
Went all in and just got the visa and said, right, we're going to make it work. But it's taken a year. I've been there 18 months now, but it probably took a year of, like, you know, doing what I do, which is I don't bowl in and what I did essentially when I came to Australia, which was just like,
here we go, yeah.
I mean, it worked then, but it doesn't really, that kind of like just smashing people's doors down, it doesn't work anymore. There's just too many DJs around doing that. I mean, I get so many emails and people asking for work all the time, and I just say, well, okay, give me a mixtape, come down and shake my hand at the venue, you know where I work. And to be honest, that filters out 90% of DJs.
Yeah, probably.
And like when I look back to what I used to do when I started. Yeah. Like if they had to do that, they were fucking. You wouldn't have
never leave the bedroom.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you had to. I'm going to sound like a whiny old DJ, but I mean, there was a commitment to it. You know, you had to buy turntables. That was expensive. You had to buy records. That was expensive. You had to go down to the record shop every fucking week and get records. Yeah. That was time consuming. Then you had to learn how to beat mix. That was another 8 months. You know, then you had to be good enough to actually take that into a bar. And you know, it was a commitment. There was 2 years of self training probably before you even went to a bar. Nowadays, you know.
So would you get into trouble if you took someone on to, like, would you say show us your work visa, or it's the individual that gets into trouble rather than the venue or the promoter?
Well, the venues can get away with not paying visas and doing things to get around it, but I mean, I know people that have been locked up for 4 or 5 days because they haven't had a DJ visa.
Yeah, right.
So you can't, the days of being able to go over there and just play are numbered, really. You can't really, because people like to say, oh yeah, I'll come over and see you play, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, because when we did Kinky, when we first went over a couple of years ago, I could get my main, you know, boys to come over and play, but the days of that are gone really.
Yeah,
so you get locked up.
Don't bother rocking over with a USB stick and a set of cans.
Not really. No. I mean, you can probably do something at the beach, but as far as putting your face on a poster and just lock you up.
So in terms of residencies, I mean, I think Red Ruby was the first one that you got over there?
Yeah, so I had Dr. Willis, who used to live down south in Perth. He was working at Ulu, so I linked up with him and got some work up at Ulu Cliff House, and I was doing Cocoon as well at that time, and then I was getting a couple of things at Red Ruby, but you know, just slowly, like going into these venues, meeting the right people, not being pushy. I mean, they know you want work. They know you're a DJ. They can work it out. Like, you don't have to
ram it down their throats.
Just emailing them or Facebooking them every Tuesday when you know they're around working and saying, "Can I get a gig?" It just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me as a promoter. I'm just like, you know. But if they come if you see them in the club and you're there, Johnny on the spot, when they need someone, and that's exactly what happened. It was like, oh, so and so can't make it tonight. Hey Saul, I saw you today. Can you play? Yeah. And then when you get that opportunity, do a good job, be a nice guy,
be professional,
just do everything right, and then it starts to happen. So then Elliot, the general manager there, the programming, all the DJs and that, said, like, you know, do you want to be a resident? So I'm there at least once a week now.
Tech house?
So that happened. It's quite techie on the island. It's pretty deep everywhere. Like, not a lot of house, but I try and play as much. I try and differentiate my sound a little bit by playing more house. Yeah. So it works in my favour. Everyone plays pretty deep. So I did that, and then once you get one thing,
kind of
your name gets out, and then people, like, you know, I'll get someone on Instagram saying, oh,
can you come and do this and do that? And I'm like, how did you find out about me? It's like, oh, on Instagram through this or this, and it just slowly you start filtering out, and people start to know who you are.
Yeah.
But it's not overnight, and you have to just constantly be a nice guy and do the right thing, you know, and try and just be a nice cunt.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's not hard, you know. Well, it is for some people.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
You know, just be professional, play good music, be a good DJ, and be a nice person, and just support the places you want to play at. And over time, you'll get to where you want to be. That would be my
top tips.
That would be my recipe to doing it. But you know, it's not overnight. And if you want it bad enough, and it's what you want to do, it will happen. Like I get DJs asking me, "Oh, well, you know, you got to fucking chuck it all in." And
And at the end of the day, it's not rocket science, as in that process. I mean, really? It's kind of like, you know.
I mean, you've got to, like, cream does rise to the top. You've got to be good at what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you've also got to play the game a little bit, and not that doesn't mean licking people's asses.
Yeah.
Just means being a nice person.
Yeah.
Because you know, it's pretty transparent from the outside, seeing DJs lick asses, and you can just see it, and you know,
these are bad tips,
it does work. It does work to certain promoters, but you know, I've had, you know, there's stories, but you know,
speaking of stories, like I know you've only been there 18 months, but is there any particular story you've got from Bali that's a goodie? Because there's been a few parties by now, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about parties in Bali because
that's fair enough. Yeah,
you get in trouble, but I mean, it can happen. Like, I mean, for instance, like I was working at Lost City, and that was where the two guys, who got caught with cocaine, and they're doing. I think they're doing well. They're up for 9 years.
Jesus, because I thought it was just like it was 0.9 or something. Was it?
They had just under a gram. One of the guys had just under a gram. The other guy was done for just having it in his system.
You're kidding?
Yeah. So. It's harsh.
Jesus Christ.
But I mean, there's so much politics, and there's always stories. I don't think it was.
There might be a little bit more to the story.
There is much more to the story. Like the coppers didn't just suddenly decide to come in. They upset a local person. The local person, I think, has gone, something's going on there. Unluckily, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I think what the law is there. And what will probably happen is that they'll have to do like a drug rehab program in Korobakan, and they could, you know, be out in possibly 18 months.
Right.
But yeah,
just not
once it's all died down in the media, and they can. Like,
right.
But
save face type thing. Yeah,
there's a lot more to that story than gets in the paper.
All right, well, let's not talk about Bali parties. Let's give that one a miss.
I don't want to
get you in trouble.
You very easily get in trouble.
Now you've also done a bit of production work. How's that going at the moment?
So I've been trying to make records for been trying to make decent records for like 7 or 8 years, use Logic. And it's only recently, probably since I moved to Bali, that I've actually started playing my own stuff, because I've always just had that. I just never liked my own stuff, and by the end of finishing the production of it, I'm just over it.
Yeah, right.
Which is a lot of
guys, people would feel that. Yeah.
But now what I'm trying to do is finish it as quickly as possible, because the longer I spend on it, the more I don't like it. So if I can get something locked down in 2 or 3 days, perfect. Any more than that, and then I start to just overdo it. So I've got a couple of things now that I've been playing out and testing that actually work, and I'm like, good.
Yeah.
So I've had them mastered, and so that's kind of that's what I want for next year, is to get on some decent labels.
And do you master them over there, or did you get that done here in Perth?
So I've got a friend in Bali, Alex Cedar, a guy from Miami, who's pretty savvy. So I'll mix it down, he'll do the master, and it's good enough to play out. And then if it gets signed, they'll probably have to go through their mastering systems to fit the label. But so I've got quite a few things ready actually for next year. So I'm going to start pumping it out next year. I've had loads of things finished, but I just didn't have the faith in them.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I don't know, for some reason something clicked, and I'm starting to make stuff that I can play, and it's working, and I see working, and I'm like, that's not shit. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit up all the DJs that I've booked in that genre.
Yeah.
And
get it out there.
They're going to start listening to it, and hopefully one of them says that's good and picks it up. But yeah, something's clicked, and I'm actually playing some of my own music, which is good.
Yeah, cool.
But we've had a record label. I've been involved in a record label called Beat Fixed out of Sydney for the last 4 years, which is more melodic kind of techno stuff.
Oh, right.
But that's me and Chris Brennan, who used to live in Perth, who's now over in Sydney. And he does a lot of the A&R. But there is some amazing music out there from kids that, we've got this kid in Russia that sends us loads of stuff, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And like we'll put it out, no problem. So if you fancy looking at any of that, Beat Fixed, it's on Beatport, got about 10 or 12 releases. I've got a couple of remixes out on the label. But yeah, there's some amazing music out there that doesn't get heard.
Yeah.
Some of it might even be mine.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully.
Well, hopefully we'll get more of it out there now. So
next year.
Now you've also done some guest experiences at my old stomping ground, which is Kiss FM in Melbourne. How did that all come about?
Yeah, so that was through just networking again. Like I met a guy called Lee Kemp in Bali.
I know Lee, yeah. He's an animal, that boy. Shout out to Lee.
Yeah.
He's over in...
He's in Bali at the moment.
Yeah, right.
He was like,
okay.
I'm coming over to Bali. I was like, yeah, I won't be there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Luckily.
You're leaving just because he's arriving. So he's got the beach club now that he's bought.
So he's got a beach club in KL now.
Yeah.
That he's running. He wants me to go and possibly do a Kinky Malinky over there actually next year. So we're looking at doing something there. But so I DJ'd.
Where'd you meet him?
Before Lee at a place called Jungle in Bali.
That's where you met him?
Yeah, and we just like hit it off. He's like...
Yeah.
He just meet like...
Yeah.
He gets on with everyone pretty much, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So
I met him at the Vineyard on a Sunday night in Melbourne. And it was...
been up a weekend probably.
Could well have been with him. My mate, big shout out to George Shakalakala. He's an animal as well, so next time you're over there I'll get you to hook up with him. You might have met him.
I may have met him actually,
wears a hat a lot.
with Henry Foster's,
right.
maybe. Lee was like, he's always like, I know somebody in New York will get you a party, and I know, I know this Arab, if you go to Dubai, he'll fly you over to an island, and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, if you're in Melbourne, I've got a mate at Kiss FM called Foster's who'll get you on for an interview. So last time we went over to Melbourne to do Porn & Co. for we did a Kinky Malinky there. He said, come and do the radio show. So we did the radio show. That was cool. And then I had him over actually to play at Kinky 2 months ago. So he came over and did a party.
In Bali?
No, in Perth.
Oh, right.
So, Foster's came over. Good lad. And he smashed it.
Yeah, right. Nice one.
So that was a Kiss FM thing.
And what about the Porn & Co. gig? How did that come about?
So that was through... Who was that through? I don't even know now.
Yeah. Been a wee while.
Yeah, we've done... we did a couple of parties in the old venue, and then they've moved, and then we've done 2 at the new one as well. So I think we're going to try and go over there in February.
Yeah.
Because there's Henton.
I don't know
Henton. He's moved over there. He's doing a boat party in February, so I think we're going to go to a boat party
in Melbourne.
Yeah, and then do Porn & Co. after that.
Yeah, cool.
Maybe
do another shot and kiss.
Yeah, probably pop into Kiss as well and do that. That's always fun.
And so what do you reckon, like the next 12 months, what are they looking like for you? It's mainly 80% Bali and then the rest Perth?
I'm off to... I've got this big Habitat show tomorrow, which should be wicked fun. And then...
And that's why you've come over for this trip?
I come back once a month for Kinky at Geisha. And then, because I saw the lineup for this Sunday, and I was like, I'll stay on a week and do that, because I've looked after Salado when they've been over, and Weiss and Weiss and Second City we had for Kinky as well. So I know all those boys, so I was like, I'll stay over this weekend, play the party, catch up with them. And then I go to Dallas on Tuesday to see my girlfriend for 2 weeks. Go for a little look about there. And then it's back to Bali for Christmas, New Year. We've got Kinky Malinky, New Year's Eve sorted out there.
Where about? What venue?
At Red Ruby on the terrace. So they're going to do like tech house, techno in the main room, and we're going to do house on the terrace. So that's cool.
Yep.
And then I've got the residency at Cafe Del Mar there. So
that's actually, let's talk about that. How did that come about? How long has it been open for as well? Like
been open
months?
for like 2 months.
Yeah.
It's a massive venue.
And just for context, that would be 2 months from like September 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've been open for like 8 weeks. they sent out a bit of a kind of generic thing saying, you know, an expression of interest from DJs, so everyone kind of got involved and sent some stuff in. And then they got a load of DJs in. I think there was about 30 of us when it started, and they've cut that down to like 15 of us, maybe less. So I'm still in the mix. I'm still there. Happy with what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. Well, very happy to be involved with that brand.
Yeah, definitely.
That's 3 sets a week in there, so I'm pretty busy with those guys. They got some massive parties coming up. They got Dimitri from Paris and David Morales for New Year's Eve.
Yeah, right. Because I think Dimitri's playing here in Perth on the 29th of December. I think.
28th, 29th, yeah. So, they got some big parties coming up, and it's a beautiful venue, and it's less touristy. It's a bit more refined.
Where is it?
It's kind of Canggu, but up from W and all that on the on the coast, but before Canggu Main kind of thing. Yeah, it's like in the middle, but it's huge space, beautiful food, great sound system, huge stage.
Yeah, can't wait to check it out.
Yeah, so got that going on. Got Red Ruby going on, New Cliff House.
Bit of production work.
Bit of production stuff. Yeah, I've got a couple of sets in Mississippi before I left. I don't know if you've been to that.
Yeah, I have been to Mississippi. I saw John Corse play over there.
Okay.
Coursey,
yeah, they get all the...
He's getting married this weekend, I believe. So, him and Kelly. So, congratulations to those guys.
Congrats. So we've got Mississippi in the pipeline as well, hopefully. But next year, just try and get some tunes out there. Try and get more established in Bali. And also get into Asia a little bit. I'm going to be in Singapore in February. Played at C'est La Vie the last time I was at the Marina Bay Sands.
So I
played up there the last time I was there, so I want to try and do a couple more gigs this time too. So
that'd be a good one.
Yeah,
it's an amazing location, obviously.
Yeah, it was amazing. We landed and the driver was like, "Are you playing up there?" And I was like, "Jesus, okay." Yeah. But it's like that's world class.
Absolutely.
So that was a bit of a pinch me moment. That was cool. So I'll hopefully do a couple more things over there. Maybe get over to see Lee. Just try and get around a little bit. You know?
He gets around.
Yeah.
It's like full on. Yeah.
You say that again.
Yeah. No, he's a classic. Okay, well, we're almost at the end. Now, is there, we've covered a few topics, a few places around the world, and is there anything we might have missed that you wanted to make a mention of? That
not really. I'm sure I'll get in the car and think, I forgot that one. Yeah. But no, I think I've covered everything really.
Okay,
interesting to listen back and hear my own life.
Absolutely, yeah. So here's a question: are you going to tell your parents about it?
About what?
About this? Are you going to?
Yeah, I haven't tired myself with anything.
No, I don't think so.
No,
it's all pretty above board.
Yeah, they know my antics of when I was younger. They know what I've been up to.
Yeah, no surprises. Okay, well, it wouldn't be the Al Black Show without finishing with my favourite question, which is your favourite party story of all time.
I think I've already said it, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've actually covered a few good ones.
I think it was probably... Yeah, I'm going with the Jamie Jones party. That was the best. That was my best party by far.
Yeah,
that was the best. I'm not going to do a better party than that. There are other stories involving getting dressed up in pantries and fake deaths on Instagram and things like this.
And some of the crazy stuff, but yeah.
All my friends know about those. And I think that they're the stories that Mum does want to hear.
Yeah. That's for a different YouTube channel.
They're the ones that will get me in trouble with Mum.
Yeah, cool. All right, we'll stay clear of those stalls. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming on the show.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks.